Video for you. I said I'm going to harp on this bird flu nonsense, and I am. I'm not going to stop. Okay? As long as they don't stop, I'm not stopping. Never forget coronavirus, right? Never forget that. And the Quaxxines. Well, here we are. Early testing is complete for bird flu Quaxxine. Party people and party sheeple, this will be a quick video for you. It won't keep you very long. Try to get used to these shorter videos, at least for the foreseeable future. Okay, I really scoured everything. My usual suspects, sites that I consult. I've been consulting for the last 5 years since this pandemic first broke out in 2020, and I'm looking at them like nothing terribly groundbreaking. I see a lot of AI videos. I see things like that. But other than that, it's a lot of politics. It's a lot of just recycled stuff. So I said, well, this article, let's go with it. Because they're saying that a bird flu Quaxxine for cows has passed early testing. You know what VACC, well, let's just say the Spanish word for cows is VACA. And they call the needle that they put in the sheeple's arm a vaccine. Because you're the cow. You're the herd. Right? That's what they see us as cattle. Human cattle. Right? And that's how they treat us, or try to treat us. And that's what the sheep allow themselves to be treated as. So these cows, which is what we eat, if you're a meat eater, and I am, is what they plan on injecting these Quaxxines with. This is an mRNA injection, and according to these powers that think they be, this is promising results. Okay? This news comes as scientists lament that there have not been any new human cases in 3 months. Can you imagine that? Scientists are at a loss. They're lamenting the fact that there are no new human cases in the last quarter of a year. They want human cases. They want a scamdemic, these so-called scientists, which, they got to be paid for and bought by fucking Quaxxine companies. Look at the repercussions of the Quaxxines. I covered this back in 2020, 2021. There were different batches. Some were placebos or saline. Some were, batches were very weak. Some were very strong, where they didn't make it out of the Quaxxine injection site. You know how you have to wait 15 minutes before they let you go? Because they have to monitor you to see if you're going to get sick or something. There were quite a few that dropped dead within that 15-minute time period. They never left that pharmacy or doctor's office where they got their Quaxxines, their con job 1984 Quaxxines. Then there are others that got cancer. My family included. Dead. Not all of them, the entire family. I'm just saying the ones that took it, several of them died. I had an uncle that died last year and an aunt that died in 2022. She had turbo cancer. It went right to her bones in a month. She was fighting breast cancer on and off for the last 20 years, not related to any injections that I know of. But then we warned them up in Long Island. We warned you, and you laughed. Kind of like when Noah was building the ark. You laughed at us. You laughed at my mother. She tried to warn you up there. And you believed Dr. Z-Dog, that New World Order doctor that was saying, take your Quaxxines. They believed the doctors that were pushing the Quaxxines. They believed that they were telling the truth and that we were nothing but conspiracy theorists. There was no theory about it. This was a depopulation agenda. This was medical tyranny. This was a dress rehearsal for the New World Order. This was a massive depopulation attempt. It didn't quite pan out the way they wanted it to. But there's still people dropping. I still see articles about that to this day. But I digress. So scientists are asking, why are there not any more bird flu cases last 3 months? You're a fucking scientist making hand over fist money from the fucking Quaxxine companies and Goober and stuff like that. You crooked POSs. I'm not talking about what few good scientists we have. I'm talking to the POSs. the scientists that push the Quaxines, push all this nonsense. You wondering why there's no human cases in the last 3 months? I don't know. All you got to do is stick a faulty PCR test up someone's nose, the ancient Egyptian torture method, up their nose and pull it out and say, hey, you got it. But the real truth is there's no such thing as viruses. The fact is it's a bird brain flu is what it is. You're influenced by nonsense, and you have to have a bird brain to believe it. That's the only influenza out there. Influence out there is the lies, the hoax that there's a bird flu. And if you buy it, then you have a bird brain, if you believe that crap. And that means you have the bird brain flu. You were influenced by bird brain nonsense. There is no bird flu out there. It's the bird brain flu. There is no COVID. COVID stuff is certificate of Vax ID. Show me your papers to go from point A to point B. That's it in a nutshell. I'm not going to go over the fact that they had 99.7% survival rate because it was nothing. It was a huge nothing burger and a lot of fear porn. With a lot of this as a result. I went over all that. What was that? Oh my God. It was some kind of spiritual aspect to it. It started with a D, I think. I don't know. I covered that years ago. But the fact is, they're still pushing this nonsense that there's a bird flu out there, that they have a Quaxxine for the cows, they're going to have a Quaxxine for the human cattle. And they're saying that this development of this new bovine injection could mark a crucial step towards creating flu vaccines for livestock and reducing the risk of animal to human transmission of a virus that poses a real pandemic threat. You're seriously saying that, right? This is according to Scott Hensley, a virologist at the University of Pennsylvania in Philadelphia. Scott Hensley, a virologist of the University of Pennsylvania in Philadelphia, says that this new Quaxxine, this bovine injection, could mark a crucial step towards creating flu Quaxines for livestock and reducing animal to human transmission. Skirt! Let's roll back to just what we just discussed a little while ago, which I also mentioned the other day. Scientists are baffled and lamenting the fact that we haven't had any human cases in the last 3 months. So how in the feck, fork, fook, is this a looming scamdemic? Do you see this? No human cases. They're annoyed. Scientists are. Scientists are annoyed or lamenting, going, woe is me. Why can't we have any human cases, you sick bastards? You sons of bitches. You belong in jail too. You belong in prison. You scientists that were pushing the Quaxines. You scientists that can't wait for a new scamdemic. All of you are criminals that are pushing all this bullshit. And then we have the Center of Disease Creation continues to say that the threat to humans is still very low. So you have the Center for Disease Creation says the threat to humans is still very low. You have the fact that there's no human cases in the last 3 months. There's no human cases of it at all. It's all made up shit. But I'm going on what they're saying. No human cases in 3 months. Center for Disease Creation says the threat to humans is very low. But then you got this jackass, Scott Hensley, a virologist at the University of Pennsylvania, saying this breakthrough in this quest for a bird flu Quaxxine is a crucial step towards creating flu vaccines in livestock to prevent animal to human transmission because this virus poses a real threat, pandemic threat. Which is it? I'll tell you what it is. I'm going to go back to what I used to do years ago. Which way to go, good George? Which way to go? He went that way. This one says, this arm over here says, no threat to humans. No, it's very low, the bird flu. This one over here says, this virologist says, well, there's a very real threat of it becoming a pandemic, so we have to make a Quaxxine. Either it's a very real threat or it's not. Well, let's go with the fact that it's not. Okay? Because there are no viruses. There's only poison in the vial that they inject in the sheeple and then they inject in the cows. Right? Livestock. That makes them sick. But I digress at any rate. I have a question. When you cook the meat, right? Does that cook the Quaxines that's injected into the meat? Does that kill off the Quaxines that are injected into the meat when you cook it at a high temperature? If it kills parasites, if you cook the meat at a certain temperature, if it kills whatever parasites are in there, would it kill the whatever was injected from the vial into the animal? Would it kill that too? Or would it make it even worse? I don't know. Inquiring minds want to know. I'm thinking heat would kill the vaccine after it's injected in the animal. But I haven't seen any information to say yay or nay on that. So they're saying, we assumed at some point a vaccine would be introduced either in humans or into the food supply. It looks like meat or dairy, since this is an injection for cows, will take the first hit. Cue up the figure and fiction. They either want to inject it into us or into the food or both of us. So far, it's the dairy industry that's going to take a hit on this. So you're going to tell me there's no one in any dairy or meat association that knows that doing this is very bad. The mRNA, the Quaxxine is very bad to be injecting in animals. Nobody out there is going to try to put a stop to this. This is insane. The fears of a bird flu scamdemic have been waning, meaning people are not scared of your fake bird flu psyop. But yet the media is still claiming that citizens should still be scared. The media is still claiming everyone should still be afraid, be very afraid, despite the fact most people just don't give a shit about bird flu. The part that I give a shit about is if you're going to try to pull a tyranny shit. The part that I give a shit about is you're going to try to inject us or mandate this shit. The part that I care about is you going after our food supply like the chickens and jacking up prices of eggs to astronomical prices like you have done. You criminal POSs, you. All right? Here's what the Scientific American says. Fears of a bird flu pandemic have been rising since the first confirmed outbreak of the bird flu virus in dairy cattle was reported in March of 2024. Since then, the virus has affected more than 1,000 dairy herds across 17 U.S. states. Health officials have linked 64 human infections and 1 death to the outbreak. That's according to Scientific American. See, they're saying, in so many ways, they're saying in one breath they say it's this thing's bad, the bird flu's bad, fears are rising. Then in the next sentence they'll say people just don't give a shit about it, that people aren't scared about it. Then they'll say that it's a threat. In another sentence, this could turn into a pandemic. But in the next sentence, then they'll say that very low possibility of humans getting it. See, they try to keep you confused in this. So let me help you sort it out, all right? Nobody's worried about the damn bird flu except any asshole you see out there who's a mask hole with a mask on. Those are the bitches that are afraid. Walking around with their fucking face diapers on to this very day, a half a decade later. Those are the only bitches that are afraid. But they appear to be right now the minority because a lot of people have awakened to the fact that they got in 2020. Okay? So, by and large, most people are not worried about the damn bird flu. Because there is no bird flu, and it's all hoax, and there it is. 64 human infections out of almost 400 million people is a massive nothing burger. And the infections are all fake. You can't have a bird flu infection if there is no fucking bird flu. But your faulty PCR test will say that people got it. The reason why they're dragging their feet, in my humble opinion, on this and not ramming it down our throat like they did in 2020, or tried to, and real fast, is because we're on to them. So they're going for the long game on this. That's the way it appears on me. You know, it's slowly wear you down with this bird flu shit. But the fact of the matter is, who even pays attention to these articles? These articles are buried. As far as I see it, they're buried. Politics takes the forefront to this. AI articles are even more prevalent than this. It's hard to find a bird flu article. So, I will keep talking about this. Let me relay this to you real quick from this virologist from Philadelphia, Hensley. He says this cattle vaccine does use mRNA technology. Hensley and his team built on more than a decade of work on seasonal bird flu mRNA Quaxxines. The researchers took one such vaccine candidate and swapped out its viral. I don't even want to read this. Fact all that. Fact the rest of this. I don't give a shit. Just, enough is enough is enough is enough is enough is enough is enough. That's what I gotta say. But they are working on a Quaxxine to either put in just cows in the dairy industry, or both us and cows, over something that doesn't exist. If you want to get sick like this, if you want to get heart inflammation, myocarditis, turbo cancers, chances, if you want to raise your chances of getting really sick and wigging out like this, by all means, inoculate yourself out. But as for me, my house, we ain't gonna take it. All right, and we can't give them an inch on any of this. Enough is enough. All right, so don't be a troll out there. I saw Tony Todd. We had critical thinker from Brazil. Nice chiming in. Great comment. Tony Todd, he's one pissed off American. We had several others in the comment section. So let's keep the comments on the up and up. That's what I got for you. I'm tired. At any rate, like, share, subscribe, or don't. At any rate, I am out.